wave country, whether you know it or not. Unfortunately, we are no stranger to human trafficking. I want to welcome my guest who is here today, Amy Nace DeGonda. It is good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So I have to tell you, I've had this conversation a number of times about trafficking during Derby time.
Yeah.
It's outrageous, but it doesn't go away after Derby.
Right. So actually, you know, one of the biggest misconceptions is that trafficking increases during sporting events. But what we are learning is that what you're seeing may just be an increase of commercial sex. So we're being able to identify that, you know, there are people that are coming into the area and that are already in the area that might be doing, you know, consensual commercial sex, but we're not necessarily seeing the numbers being trafficking. And also, you know, we've learned that whenever you have any type of targeted law enforcement action, you are going to be able to find those numbers, you know, but we're not having that targeted action all the time.
So is the commercial different from trafficking?
So for it to be considered sex trafficking, you have to have that commercial sex, but you also have to have the force, fraud, or coercion. So there's another misconception that is there's, you know, all commercial sex is sex trafficking, but it's not. If you look at the definition, you have consensual sex work, and then you also have what is sex trafficking, where you have that force, fraud, or coercion involved.
All right, so even if somebody is charging money for what some people may want, if they're doing it willingly, that's not traffic.
Correct.
Okay, if someone is making them do it or being fraudulent in some way to get, that is trafficking.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, that is good to clear that up. You are part of Bakhita Empowerment?
Yeah, the Bakhita Empowerment
Bakhita, okay, and talk about that and what it's trying to do.
Right, so our program is a statewide program, so we're actually unique in that way is that we provide services throughout the whole state, and we're specific to human trafficking. We're part of Catholic Charities, which has lots of different programs, but our program serves those that have been trafficked for sex or labor, or both, male, female, gender nonconforming, foreign-born or domestic, and we serve people that are of all ages. So it is our job to, if we get a referral, and it's identified to be trafficking, we provide wraparound supportive services. So, and we look at it as an individual way, right? Like each person is an individual, they have individual needs, and we are kind of putting in services and supports that will help them to regain the stability so that they can move away from services. But we also have another leg to our program, which is prevention education, and we have prevention for male identifying youth and then female identifying youth, which we can do in schools, in the community, in residential programs, and then we do a lot of training and community awareness.
And you do that because you want people to be able to make a difference in themselves and say, that looks like a sign of human trafficking, I need to tell someone.
Right, so what we want to do is train professionals that would come in contact with somebody that's been trafficked, because those are the best people to make the reports and be able to connect them, and we want to educate the community in understanding what are the root causes of trafficking, like racial inequality, poverty, homelessness, because those are going to be the things that increase the vulnerabilities for a person, and until we are addressing those root causes, then we're really not going to make a dent against trafficking.
So you are the only program that is like this, correct?
We're the only program that's statewide and that serves both foreign-born and domestic, and also labor trafficking and sex trafficking. There's not very many programs out there that focus on labor trafficking.
All right, if you have any questions or you want to find out more, there's their information for anti-human trafficking. Okay, so in this area,
yes, ma'am,
where WAVE is located,
yes, ma'am,
we have a huge indigent population, and we also have, I don't know if it's trafficking, I don't know what you would call it, but we have a lot of that on Floyd Street too. Someone had told me once, if I see someone that I think may be trying to sell themselves for money, whether somebody is forcing them to or not, that I should stop and ask her questions to see if I can help her. Would that be helpful?
You know, I would actually pause before I would tell you to do that, because you don't know.
No, I don't know. But when I see somebody, and I think that's going on, it's like my heart is kind of broken, and I'm like, what can I do? What am I supposed to do?
Right. My concern would be for maybe your safety, like, because you don't know if the person that's being trafficked, that the trafficker is around, and if you're approaching them, that something could happen, or that, you know, if that person is being trafficked, if somebody approaches them in a way of like, oh my gosh, can I help you, that they might not get like repercussions, unfortunately, from the trafficker after. If you think that something's going on, what I would caution is to contact local law enforcement to let them know of it, or contact a service provider, or contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline.
All right, it's anti-human trafficking. If we could put that up on the screen one more time, the phone is 502-873-2566. You see it there, or cclu.org. Anything that I missed?
No, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for what you do, because it's hard to get out of that life if you can't get somewhere to live, if you can't get a job, if you can't get healthy. So thank you.
Thank you
very much. All right, everybody, hang on.